Well-Trained Mind Press presents Wulf the Saxon, written by G.A. Henty, read by Jim Weiss.
Chapter 1. The Quarrel. The great Abbey of Westminster was approaching its completion. From his palace hard by, King Edward had watched with the deepest interest the erection of the minster that was the dearest object of his life. From one of the side doors of the palace, a page, some 15 or 16 years of age, ran down the steps in haste. He was evidently a Saxon by his fair hair and fresh complexion, and any observer of the time would have seen that he must, therefore, be in the employment of Earl Harold, the great minister, who had for many years virtually ruled England in the name of its king. The young page was strongly and sturdily built. His garb was an English one, but with some admixture of Norman fashions. He wore tightly fitting leg coverings, a garment somewhat resembling a blouse of blue cloth, girded in by a belt at the waist and falling in folds to the knee. Over his shoulders hung a short mantle of orange color with a hood. On his head was a cap with a wide brim that was turned up closely behind and projected in a pointed shovel shape in front. In his belt was a small dagger. He wore shoes of light yellow leather. As he ran down the steps of the palace, he came into sharp contact with another page, who had just turned the corner of the street. "I crave your pardon, Walter Fitzurse," he said hurriedly, "but I was in haste and saw you not." The other lad was as clearly Norman as the speaker was Saxon. He was perhaps a year the senior, and taller by half a head, but was of slighter build. The expression of his face differed as widely from that of the Saxon as did his swarthy complexion and dark hair, for while the latter face wore a frank and pleasant expression, that of the Norman was haughty and arrogant. "You did it on purpose," he said angrily, "and were we not under the shadow of the palace, I would chastise you as you deserve." The smile died suddenly out from the Saxon's face. "Chastise me? Do you think you are talking to a Norman serf? If you are not satisfied with my apology, I will ride with you a few miles into the country, and we will then try with equal arms where the chastisement is to fall." The Norman put his hand to his dagger, but there was an ominous growl from some men who had paused to listen to the quarrel. "You are an insolent boor, Wulf of Steyning, and some day I will punish you as you deserve." "Some day," the Saxon laughed, "we shall, I hope, see you and all your tribe sent across the Channel. There are few of us here who would not see our backs with pleasure." "What is this?" an imperious voice demanded. And turning round, Wulf saw William, the Norman Bishop of London, who, followed by several monks and pages, had pushed his way through the crowd.
"Walter Fitzurse, what means this altercation?"
"The Saxon ran against me of set purpose, my lord," Walter Fitzurse said, in tones of deep humility. "And because I complained, he challenged me to ride with him into the country to fight, and then he said he hoped that some day all the Normans would be sent across the Channel."
"Is this so?"
the prelate said sternly to Wulf.
"Did you thus insult not only my page, but all of us, his countrymen?"
"I ran against him by accident," Wulf said, looking up fearlessly in the prelate's face. "I apologized, though I know not that I was more in fault than he. But instead of taking my apology, he threatened me with chastisement, and then I did say that I hoped he and all other Normans in the land would some day be packed across the Channel."
"Your ears ought to be slit as an insolent varlet."
"I meant no insolence, my lord bishop. And as to the slitting of my ears, I fancy Earl Harold, my master, would have something to say on that score." The prelate was about to reply, but glancing at the angry faces of the growing crowd, he said coldly,
"I shall lay the matter before him. Come, Walter, enough of this. You are also somewhat to blame for not having received more courteously the apologies of this saucy page."
The crowd fell back with angry mutterings as he
Sample complete. Ready to continue?